시청자 여러분 안녕하십니까? 파워인터뷰 화제인 박미라입니다. 오늘날 데이터의 중요성에 대해서는 더 이상 말할 필요가 없죠. 챗 GTP를 시작으로 인공지능 시대가 본격 도래하면서 보다 빠르고 효율적인 데이터 관리가 필요하게 됐는데요. 데이터센터를 관리하는 것이 기업의 중요한 부분이 되었습니다. 오늘 파워인터뷰 화제인에서는 데이터 스토리지 분야에서 혁신을 일궈가는 기업 퓨어스토리지의 찰리 장칼로 대표를 모시고 이야기 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. Welcome to our show, our program. So first of all, could you give an introduction to 퓨어스토리지?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, let me just thank you for having me on your show. I very much appreciate it.
Oh, your pleasure.
So Pure Storage is the most recent company to go public in the data storage market. And we are changing the nature of data storage very, very significantly. We were the first company to put enterprise storage on flash technology. Flash technology is the same technology that is in your the show's cell phones and mobile phones. It's now in their laptops. But prior to this, all of the data storage was built on hard disks. And maybe your older viewers remember hard disks, which were very large, very heavy, clunky. They failed very often. And we were the first company to to get rid of hard disk for the very demanding data storage of large companies. Now, about 20% of a large company's storage is now on flash that we provide. It's faster, it's more reliable. Some of the things, though, that Pure has done has gone beyond this. We have made enterprise storage much, much simpler. Hard disk products were very, very complicated. They required a lot of tuning. It required a lot of people to be able to manage it over a long period of time. We developed products that were very simple to operate, required far fewer people. We also did something that is still, after 10 years, unique in our industry. We created data storage that never gets old. Wouldn't you like this to never get old? I would like this. I seem to be getting older. So how is it that you can have a product that never gets old? We are able to upgrade and update our product year after year, and we're able to do this without disrupting the customer's environment. In other words, the applications can keep operating even though we are upgrading the hardware and the software. This would be like driving your car to work. And when you get in your car, it's the same car you've been driving the last year or two. And when you get to work without stopping, all of a sudden you're getting out of a brand new car. Everything, the tires, the motor, the entire chassis, the body of the car has been completely replaced, but while you were driving and you didn't even notice. That's how our systems are constantly upgraded. So they're always new.
Can you explain what all flash storage is in layman's word?
Oh, absolutely. Let me start with saying what a hard disk is. A hard disk is a spinning platter, a disk, with magnetic film on it, where data is written to the hard disk as it spins around. So it's a mechanical device, not unlike an old-fashioned turntable or record player, right? Flash is a semiconductor. It's a chip, right? So it's solid state. It's a chip like a processor. And that chip can hold storage, hold data in it for a long period of time. It used to be that flash was very expensive. But your listeners may know that the earliest iPods came with a hard disk. It was very heavy. And if you dropped it, the hard disk could be damaged. And then, of course, it wouldn't work anymore. iPods then went to flash storage. It became very, very small and very thin, and you could drop it and it would still continue working. And that was based on the semiconductor, on flash memory. Now, that was a relatively small amount of information. In the case of a large company and an enterprise, they need to store a lot of information, and flash was still too expensive to be able to use. Pure Storage 10 years ago was the first one to make flash inexpensive enough that enterprises could use it. And we had all the same advantages versus hard disk, which is that it was reliable. It was relatively small compared to very large hard disks, and it was very, very fast. But it wasn't cheap enough for the cheapest data, so it could only be used for enterprises in what's known as primary data. Primary data is where data needs to be very fast and very reliable, so they could afford something that was a bit more expensive. Now, of course, we can address almost all data.
Right. So before asking about more about the 퓨어스토리지, may I ask you a question about the IT and the data trends our companies pay attention to today?
Yes. Well, as you know, IT trends are constantly changing. And what's really different now from maybe even 10 years ago is that customers don't just want to put their data in a safe and keep it for later. They need to use their data to have a better understanding of their customers, a better understanding of their business, and to really be able to lower the cost of their services to their customers, but also to provide a better service. And so data can't be cold anymore. Data has to be warm. It has to be, in some cases, even be hot to be better analyzed. And so this is putting a lot of demands on the data storage environment for customers. And it's the environment that we do very well at, because Flash allows data to be fresh and allows it to be always available and always on.
So Bill Gates said that the age of AI has begun because AI is a revolution that has a mobile phone and the internet. So data such as image, the voice, and video are also exploding. So what do you think the challenge is facing the data center?
Yes. Well, AI is extraordinarily important, and more customers are looking to see how they can use AI to develop better products, better services, lower costs. We are involved in many AI projects by our customers. A great example of this is we worked with Meta to build the world's largest AI supercomputer, and it is entirely based upon Pure Storage. AI requires very, very high-speed data to be ingested by millions or hundreds of thousands to millions of network processors that can process it very rapidly. It also requires that data to be constantly analyzed and available. So the challenges for data centers and for IT organizations are how can they easily build structures that can analyze this data with ease and without having a lot of expertise. We work very closely with another company called NVIDIA to develop a service called AIRI, AI-ready infrastructure, and it allows customers to get up and running with an AI environment very, very rapidly with minimal expertise so that their AI scientists can be productive very, very quickly. But I think the main element is for customers to be able to put their data in an environment where that data is easily accessible at the right kind of performance levels for AI environments. And this is something that we can help them with.
Right. So how can the 퓨어스토리지 help the company process unstructured data?
Well, unstructured data is what AI uses, right? It's data that is not in a database. It's data that is just text-based typically, but also images. And it's large amounts of data that is stored in an unstructured format, either file or object. And this is where a lot of our products have been developed, is to be able to store large amounts of unstructured data that is available at very high speed. And something that I'll mention as well is customers are very concerned around security with their data. And security in two ways. One is they're concerned that it could be taken, and one of the things that we do is encrypt all of the data. They're also concerned about ransomware, that ransomware could interrupt their service by causing it to be destroyed or even encrypted by criminal activity. We provide a service which we call safe mode. And what safe mode does is it creates a copy of the data that cannot be changed. And so that if ransomware has ever been created that has destroyed some of the data, we can recover with the copy very, very rapidly.
이번에는 퓨어스토리지의 교체적인 사업 현황에 대해 들어보겠습니다. I heard that your company is competed with so many big companies, so I'd like to ask you the two questions. First, and what are the big strengths of 퓨어스토리지 the company compared to other company?
Yes. Well, we are differentiated in many ways from these. Yes, we have very, very large competitors. And while they're bigger than us, they invest very little in data storage. They considered for a decade data storage to be a commodity, and so they reduced their investment in the technology. We view data storage as high technology. It needs to continue to advance at the same pace as the IT environment itself. So this year alone, we'll invest 20 to 25% of our revenues in R&D. And what that has resulted in are products that are faster, but also that use far less power, cooling, and we produce less e-waste than our competitors. In addition to that, we are at the forefront of price performance. So for example, this year, we introduced a new product that competes at the same price level as hard disk storage. And only we have this technology today. Finally, as I mentioned before, our products are constantly new. We call this evergreen. And that is a capability that none of our competitors after 10 years have been able to deliver.
Well, how did you continue to increase your market share?
Well, our products also are 10 to 20 times more reliable than our competitors' products. They simply just rarely ever fail or have a problem. Because of this, we also have what's called a very high Net Promoter Score. It's the highest in the industry by a large amount. Our customers simply love our products because they're easier to use. They require very little training. They almost never fail. But also, when we upgrade, we don't need to take the customer's environment down. And that's very important. Our products are also very consistent. What do I mean by that? We basically have one software architecture and two hardware architectures that share the same components. And our competitors compete with a half dozen or more products that are very incompatible with one another. And so the experience with our products by our customers is far better than with our competitors.
And we understand that you recently launched a new product. So could you give an introduction to the new product?
Yes, we're very proud of this new product. It's called FlashBlade E. It is the first product that is priced at the same level as a low-cost disk. So let me just give some background in this. We introduced the first enterprise flash product 10 years ago. Over that period of time, today, all what is called primary storage, this is high-performance storage, is on flash, whether it's by us or by our competitors. But that still leaves more than 80% of the data in the world on hard disk. So 80% of the data is a lot of data, of course. And it stayed on hard disk because hard disk has been cheaper than flash. Well, we now have the first product that can compete at that cheaper level. So our dream is to see the all-flash data center. And I'll make a prediction for you. My prediction is that in 5 years, there will not be a new hard disk ever sold. The reason is because we are more reliable, and we use one-tenth the power, one-tenth the cooling, one-tenth the space of hard disk-based systems. Now, if you look at a typical data center, about 25% of the power and over 30% of the space in the data center is used by hard disk storage. And if we can replace that, it means we can reduce the power required by a data center by over 20%, which is a huge amount of power. And it can save the world a large amount of power.
So what does this new product mean for the market?
We think this new product is revolutionary for the market. I'll predict that in 5 years, not a single new hard disk will be sold because flash is more reliable, it's faster, it's smaller, uses less energy, it's more environmentally friendly, but it's easier to manage by the customers as well. So why would you use hard disk when something that's cheaper, faster, uses less space is available? So we think it's the end of the hard disk.
So when do you see the old flash data center going mainstream?
We think the all-flash data center in terms of new builds will be all flash in 5 years. And I think most hard disks will be gone from the data center soon after that.
Right. Could you tell us about the innovation in the storage? Because I saw that you're investing 20% of your revenue in R&D. So what do you think in your next challenge?
Our next challenge is to allow our enterprise customers to be able to manage their data environment the way the hyperscalers manage the cloud, entirely automated, where they are able then to be able to provide data services to their software developers through what are called APIs, meaning that the software developers don't need to talk to anyone, they don't need to write emails, they simply write code and are able to get access to the data services that they need.
이번에는 퓨어스토리지의 비전과 목표에 대해 알아보겠습니다. So since entering Korea in 2013, the 퓨어스토리지 has been growing steadily. So what kind of customer does Pure have globally and here in Korea?
We have a wide variety of customers. We have customers in manufacturing, in banking, especially big banks, in transportation. We have what are called SaaS customers, cloud customers, both hyperscaler as well as services companies, SaaS customers. And finally, we also have government customers, very strong government customers, both civilian as well as defense.
So what motivates you to enter the Korean market?
Well, we entered the Korean market very soon after building our first product because we knew that the Korean market is one of the most advanced and has very demanding customers. And we knew that the Korean market would require, advanced technology to satisfy their large IT customers.
This time, I want to ask about the Korea technology. So what level do you think Korea is in terms of technology introduction?
Yeah. Well, Korea is one of the most advanced countries in the world in terms of technology. Major manufacturers in Korea, some of which are suppliers to us. Samsung, Hynix are suppliers of memory, which we use, but also the major car companies are major suppliers to the world as well. We're very pleased to be in the Korean market, to be able to supply major technology companies with our technology, but also government entities as well.
And what do you think Korean companies need to become the global company than they are now?
Well, actually, already Korean companies are very successful, as you well know, overseas, right? And have global presence. I would say that perhaps the one area where Korean companies have not yet gone global is in the cloud, to provide cloud services beyond the Korean border. And so this is an area that perhaps we might be able to work together on.
So what is the purpose of this visit?
The purpose of this visit, well, unfortunately, because of COVID, I have not been able to come for over 3 years. And I had intended to come earlier, but was unable to do so. So the purpose of this visit was both to visit our team that has grown quite a bit over the last few years, but also to introduce this new product, FlashBlade E, because it's so revolutionary that I wanted to be here personally to be able to do it.
Right. So what is your advice for the Korea company looking for effectively build a modern data center?
Well, in order to build a modern data center, you need modern data storage. You need to be able to, you want to be able to process your data efficiently and effectively. In many cases, you want to use artificial intelligence to be able to get better insights out of that data. And you can only do that when that data is readily available. But at the same time, you want to be efficient with the data. You want to be able to store the data in a way that is low cost because, of course, companies need to work on low cost. And we feel that at Pure Storage, we're able to provide the best combination of low cost and high performance.
So as a CEO, what is your business philosophy and the vision of the future?
So my personal business philosophy is that you need to build a great company and a great team because it's always the team that provides success. And you want to be part of an organization and a technology and a business that's growing because it's a lot more fun than the other way around. So my vision for the future is that not only are we building a company that's determining the future of data management and of data storage, but we're building a company that will last through time by building a great organization.
These days, ESG management has become a hot topic. So what does 퓨어스토리지 do for the ESG management?
Yes. Well, we are very focused on creating products that are much more environmentally friendly. Because of the way we built our products, they require less space, less power, and less cooling than competitive products in the area. In fact, 1/2 to 1/5 the amount of energy required and 1/2 the amount of space. And then compared to products we're replacing, such as the hard disk based products, we are 1/10 the space, power, and cooling. So environmentally, the products themselves are very environmentally friendly. Now, in addition to that, we've eliminated plastics from our company. We've eliminated plastics from the packaging of our products. And we've done a lot of analysis in terms of the manufacturing of our products to reduce the amount of transportation and to reduce the amount of energy that it takes to build our products.
Could you give us any comment or something for our program?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to thank your watchers and listeners for their time. But we are at Pure, we're very pleased and proud to be able to operate in the Korean market. And we look forward to working with many Korean companies to improve your data processing capability, to reduce your overall costs, and also to reduce your impact on the environment and enable you to deliver better scores for your customers in ESG management. Thank you so much for your time.
데이터 분석 플랫폼에서 가장 중요한 것은 데이터입니다. 데이터를 잘 활용하는 기업은 그렇지 않은 기업보다 매출 증대 가능성이 4.8배, 고객 만족도 향상은 3.2배 차이 난다고 하는데요. 급격하게 증가하는 데이터를 빠르고 효율적으로 처리하며 지속 가능한 데이터 센터 산업을 이끌어가는 퓨어스토리지의 성장과 발전을 기대합니다. 오늘 함께해 주신 찰리 장칼로 대표님 고맙습니다. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.